been working with one of my existing investors who is tied into a deal that we're in, and his circumstances have changed in the short term, and he could do with some of the capital back out of the deal that he's got with me, and I worked quite hard this week to bring in a new investor to refinance him out. I tell that story because ultimately this original investor, he's a sophisticated high net worth investor, does multiple seven figures with me, and the terms of his investment are very clear that he doesn't get it back until the end of the period. But his circumstances changed, he needed some capital, and as much as it was a headache for me to raise this money for him and to get him repaid, the long-term benefits to that relationship are immeasurable now. Given how over the moon he is with what I achieved for him. And I think when I talk about you need to develop the skill of being able to raise funds. A key aspect of being able to raise funds on a repeat basis from the same people all ultimately comes down to how you treat your investors. When I say investors, that could be individual investors, it could be banks, alternative financial institutions, whatever it may be. But your success at doing repeat business with these people is going to be down to how you treat them. And this is a debate I have with a lot of my customers. Well, a lot, but I've got 2 or 3 customers again who I do regular business with, who I would argue treat their lenders, treat their investors almost with contempt. I mean, maybe contempt's too strong a word, but they certainly don't treat them with any respect. And their attitude is, well, these guys are getting high returns, or there's big upside in the deal, so that so they need to take some pain along the way. Now listen, let's give a real example of this. If someone borrows secured debt from me, and let's say they're paying 2% a month plus some fees, they're going to be paying 25 to 30% per annum. Okay, that's not cheap money, but that's a deal that we all went into on day one, knowing the terms of the deal, knowing the rules of the game, the rules of engagement. If that's a 12-month deal, then my whole business model is budgeted on the fact that I need them to repay me in 12 months' time. If it gets to the end of 12 months and they don't repay, then I probably have problems further down the line, because, like I said, my cash flow is based on that being returned. I probably have investors in that deal who again are expecting their money to be returned on time. And what will happen very often with customers when I turn around to them and say, right guys, it's the end of your 12 months, time for that money to come back, and they want to just say, oh, I need to extend it for 6 months, I need to extend it for 12 months. I said, well, that doesn't work. That doesn't work for me. You're causing me a problem. And these guys will very often turn around and go, what are you moaning at? You're charging me a fortune. You're charging me 2% a month. Whatever the figure or whatever the story may be. But look, the bottom line is that's irrelevant. Whether I'm charging you 2% or 20 a month or 22% a month, we entered a deal that we all knew the rules of engagement on day one. And if you're not going to uphold your end of the bargain, it's going to make it very difficult for me to uphold my end of the bargain, with my funders or within my business or whatever that may be. And ultimately, I'm going to have a bad relationship with you. Now, yes, look, obviously, if we don't get repaid on time, we have the ability to take enforcement action against these customers, to take the properties back, etc., etc. So I'm not worried about the situation. That's what I'm not telling you the story like that. But what I'm telling you, that if you want to raise money repeatedly, if you want to raise money from the same people time after time, or even not the same people, just different people, you need to develop a track record for doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. And for me personally as well, that's something that's obviously always been so important to me, because a lot of you guys know my story, that I went bankrupt back in 2008, and lost all my mainstream relationships overnight. My credit rating was shot. My my public profile was in tatters. So it was impossible for me to raise money from banks and building societies and mainstream institutions. So the only people I could really raise money from were private investors, individuals, friends of friends. And I can only do that by being a man of my word and doing what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it. And I really very much put my success in raising money down to the fact that I will walk over hot coals to deliver to my investors what I said on day one I was going to deliver to them, whatever the cost is whatever the cost of that is to me. If that means if a customer of mine's let me down and that means I can't pay my investor on time, I will happily, if I need to, borrow money from somewhere else at a more expensive rate to make sure that I repay my investor back on time, because I want them to know that when they put their money with me, I'm going to perform, I'm going to deliver. Because like anything in life, there's a lot of competition out there for all things, and any investor who invests with me, any lender who lends to me, they've got the ability to put their money in a million other homes. So I need to make sure that I am a quality home for their cash. And for me, like I say, I've got a couple of people in mind right now that I'm telling this video to, so that I'm thinking of when I'm making this video for you guys. People who have actually good business models, and I could do a lot more business with, and they could do more business with other people, but they just have this arrogance, this contempt that, oh well, fuck you, I'm paying you a fortune, therefore I'll pay you back when it suits me to pay you back. And they say, oh, you've got security, what are you moaning at? Well, it's not about that. Like anything in life, business, personal, whatever, when you make a commitment, you've got to deliver on it.